Shalom, Erev Tov, good evening from Jerusalem, Israel. This is Mr. Lowell Joseph Gallen, founder of the Root and Branch Association Limited, established in the United States of God of Israel, bless America, in New York State in 1981, now celebrating our 42nd year. Today is Thursday, December 14, 2023 in the Gregorian calendar, and now that it's after nightfall, it is the 8th and final night of Hanukkah Festival of Lights, and the date is the third day of the 10th Israelite Hebrew month of the new Israelite Hebrew year 5784. Welcome to our 8th and final night of Hanukkah address by Our Lady Roseanne Barr. The short title is Expanded Light. And I would like to welcome our co-chairs who do the honor of chairing the session after I get done with my Ed Sullivan wannabe Secret Life of Walter MIDI intro. And here's Johnny, Ed McMahon. I was a big fan of all of them. I just say to you that Our Lady Roseanne Barr is, just a second, I have a long list, not only a grande dame for all seasons, but this is the Boudica warrior queen of the Iceni for our times, Huldah the prophetess of ancient Israel for our times, Deborah the judge of ancient Israel for our times, Esther queen of ancient Israel for our times, America and the world's mom, America and the world's Yiddish mama, and Bubby Savta Granny. Did I leave anything else? Yes. And a queen, an Israelite queen from the royal house of David. Now, that sounds very schmaltzy, which it is. But just because something's schmaltzy doesn't mean it isn't true. And I actually mean everything I say. So, without further ado, let me hand over the mic.
A Jew. I like a Jew.
Someone even paid attention. A Jew. That's in honor of Zvi Lifshitz and, of course, Frank. And Frank's older brother, Dr. Vladimir Zelenko, is always with us in spirit and will keep up the battle.
Yes.
Now, without further ado, I hand over the mic to our co-chairs who will grace with their presence and be the armor bearers of Our Lady Roseanne Barr, who is speaking to us from Los Angeles, what's left of it, and we are broadcasting from Jerusalem to the whole world about expanded life. Ladies first, and gentlemen, it's all yours.
Thank you, Lo. Roseanne, in the words of Kanye West, I'm gonna let you finish, but I wanna. It's my Hebrew birthday, so I want to give you a blessing.
Thank you.
Before we start, my blessing to you is first and foremost health in every single possible facet, and safety, security in these times, and for everybody, for you, for everybody in your family. And also, we saw that you were when you resurrected your show at the, before they removed you, you were successful for the short time that you were doing it, in uniting people from different walks of society in this country, maybe not only in this country, in other countries. And so I just want to give you a blessing that whatever you're doing now and whatever you're planning on doing, whether it's out, you've announced it out in the open, or whether it's something that you're planning you didn't tell anybody about yet, whatever that is, it's going to unite in perpetuity, in continuity, the people of America and anyone else outside of America who's watching. And Jews and non-Jews should benefit from that, and you should be successful. And anybody who tries to stop you, all these, what we call, me and Frank call fruitcakes, should fail immediately, as the nanosecond they try to stop you from doing that. So that's my blessing to you.
Thank you so much, and a happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. And Frank, you're muted. Let's unmute you.
You're muted, Frank.
Oh, there you are. Oops. Unmute yourself. There you go.
Somebody gave me the opportunity to unmute. Hey, Lowell, I just wanted to say, well, first I wanted to say Amen to Tzvi's blessing. It's his birthday. And Lowell, that a Jew comment that you make, before we start the show, it has comedic value, but it's also something David Duke would say in his podcast when they're about to set off. So, all right, I'd just like to say that. Let's give it over to
So
Roseanne
there
now.
can be unity,
Yeah,
even between Lowell and David Duke.
Yeah.
A joke can unite.
absolutely.
Are you done? Are you
I,
done?
I pass the mic to you, Roseanne.
Okay, I'm so excited because we are like just talking today. I realized it's a time warp. The address I'm giving it from inside a time warp because it's sundown
Mm.
and it's not the final day. It's not the final lighting. So it's hard for me to speak when I'm not in the thing, because how do I connect to the energy of that moment of that day that's historic, that has gone on for Jews every year since time began, since we started being Jews? Every year, the same thing. Every year for all of these years. So how can I connect to that energy if I'm not going to be in it and speak from the place that I need to be in order to speak what I want to say, to be connected to source? How will I do that? Well, luckily for me, there's Torah. That's how I do it. And then I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool because it's like, I've always believed that, and was taught to by some of my teachers, that Torah is indeed a time machine that connects each of us to the history of our people, written day by day all over the world, read and spoken and experienced day by day all over the world since we decided to become Jews and to be the children of Abraham. So that's really cool that it's a time machine. And then I was thinking about all the Torah thing, and and Frank, the four levels of learning part, as whole thing about the levels of learning. And at the top of the levels of learning, the mathematical equations that we figure for how we call when we see down the long road and go, something could occur on this day, because we go, oh, it always occurs on the it always occurs on the calendar, it always occurs on the holiday of the calendar, right, Frank?
Yes, absolutely. Because each day on the calendar has been a permanent reality even before the main day that we celebrate. Like Passover was always there even before the Passover. Hanukkah was always there even before, the Hanukkah that we celebrate is there every year. It's like a
Look at that.
it's like a bus stop along the spiritual route. Okay, It just keeps circling around and around. All right. I thought he'd love this, but there you go.
Oh, he's so cute. Hi, cute boy. Hi.
This is Raphamus. There we go.
Hello. He's
All
so
right.
cute. Oh, he's
Yeah.
so cute.
So I thought he'd balance out yeah.
Cute, but going back, so anyways, so we know about the equations of Torah. We talk about them, we think about them, we experience them, we calculate them, and then we get into deep science too, and we say, oh, is Torah, is it a quantum equation? And we have to say yes, it is, in its finality, and its beauty, its simplicity, its oneness. It is indeed a quantum equation. And I just got that during Hanukkah. I just got it. So I searched it, because it's so amazing on Jewish holidays, when you're really living in Torah, when you are in living Torah, when you're living inside living Torah, things occur to you. It's so exciting. And they occur to you because you've done the work behind that which occurs. And that is so deep and so wonderful. And so okay, then I wanted to talk about the number. Can you all hear me? There's weird things going on.
Very good, having what you don't have this.
Somebody's making noise. I'm not sure.
Oh, you're
Oh.
talking. You should be on mute, mister.
Oh, they just okay. He's
Okay,
on mute now.
but I want to talk to you all about the number 137. I want to read to you about the number 137. But and I will, but first I want to say, and I'll do that near the end, but first I want to say, well, I'm kind of interrupting time in my time machine because I'm going to talk about the last lighting, the cumulative energy of all the light of all the candles we light during the 8 nights. Or all the oil we burn, because that's really the way we should do it, is with the oil, because it's about the oil, you know. So I'm going to interrupt before the end to remind you of something you may not have thought about during the 8 nights, although we're not at the 8th night. So it's like a time machine right now. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's a few levels of reality that we are bespeaking right now. And ironically, because we do the same thing every year and we forget about it, because as my grandmother told me, when you're born, the angel puts its finger on your mouth. That's why you have the indentation under your nose. The angel puts the finger there to say, shh, you will not speak anything nor know anything about this heavenly realm when you're born into the body. That's why we have this indentation, my grandmother said. Isn't that funny? Isn't that great?
Frank is muted once again.
And it's also why it takes 1 year for the top of our skull to go together, because the place over the skull is open for approximately a year in a baby. Why is that?
Interesting.
Why does God make us the way he makes us? What is our religion? This is night 6. Is this not night 6? This will be the 6th night
This is gonna
tonight.
be no. This is
Because
gonna
it's
be
9
the
8. It's
8th.
also
It's gonna be
9
8th.
a.m. here.
It's gonna be.
It's gonna be
8th.
night is the
8th.
8th night.
Tonight's the 8th night.
But you guys are different from me because it's 6th night here
7.
tonight.
7.
Okay,
7th.
yeah, last night was 6. Okay, I'm all confused. Tonight is 7th night light.
No,
So I'm in LA and it's Thursday, December 14th, 9:21 a.m. So, okay, tonight is my,
It's
I'll
the
have
8th.
tonight it will be the 8th night. Yeah.
no.
Right now is the 7th day. Tonight
Tonight's
will
the
be the
big
8th
show.
night. Yeah.
Tonight's the big show. The whole enchilada, all 8
The
candles.
whole enchilada is tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why am I off? Is it different in Jerusalem as in diaspora?
Same. It's just now they just lit. I mean, they already lit like 3 hours ago or something like that. 2 hours ago.
Okay, so I'm
They-
not interrupting it. Okay, so
No.
scratch all that.
Yeah.
So what I
because-
want to say is, what are we here? We're in another war, like we're always in a war at Hanukkah, because Hanukkah's about a war with the people that want us to collude with them to destroy our religion and our people. Am I right?
That's a big part of it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it seems always that the 8th night of Hanukkah, we received the big boomerang of Esther. If you connect all the holidays,
Yeah.
it seems that the 8th night of Hanukkah is the big reveal of the Esther boomerang, according to people who really study numbers and study what I study, my friends who are rabbis, my teachers.
Well, I'd like to hear about it. Let's hear about the boomerang.
Well, it's kind of the same thing as the when the decree is it used on Purim and all that, that is the decree is reversed. See? But on Hanukkah, the decree is removed. So that's really what Esther is really about. If you're really going to get into the path of the just and why things work the way they work, because the decree that our enemies have placed upon us with or without our consent, it has to go. And I believe it is going to go on this night with this lighting. That is going to go. Everything is going to go. And here's how it's going to go. I see it, because what are we fighting for? Why are the Jews always fighting for our religion? What is our religion? And what are we fighting for? I think that's something to hurry up and figure out really quick before the 8th lighting. What is it that we're fighting so hard for? What is it that we suffer for? What is it that we go to war to protect? What is that? It seems nobody knows. No, a lot, no.
For many, it's subconscious. For most at this, for most Jews in the world right now, they fight. It's almost a subconscious, thing, and the minority are conscious of what it's all about.
Yeah, I think a lot of Jews over the years, because of galut, because of exile, because of just different things, have been just a little bit psyoped into just, okay, it's just physical survival. Even somebody like, Michael Rappaport, I noticed, the guy,
Yeah.
he kind of woke up, but it's still kind of on the physical survival level, don't mess with me. I'm here in Tel Aviv. He went to Tel Aviv and made a video about the place where they put all the commemorate all the hostages. So he's on that level. He's just on that physical survival level because of all the stuff that we've been told about. They're like pounding this Holocaust thing, education thing for, the last however many years. And that's like, the existence of the American Jew. That's as far as that goes, And even now, Spielberg, again, he's making this documentary about, this horrible event. But like, that's what he's been doing.
The 7th, the October 7th?
Yeah, he's gonna make a documentary, and they interviewed him, and he said, I heard about horrible things that happened in the past, and I never thought it could happen in our generation, where I live in America, as if people didn't kind of see this coming. But ironically, they're taught about, physical survival, and yet they don't see the modern day threats coming. So it's like this weird dichotomy in their minds, and it's due to galut, to the generational trauma, the psyop, all these things, and just when you don't have Torah to really give you like you said, to give you the context and to give you the understanding of the whole picture, then you're just, okay, survival, don't mess with us. But that's where it stops for them, and it's almost like, I hate to say this, it's almost like I hope Hashem doesn't send more of these things, but it's almost like for these people to wake up, for more of them to wake up, and then maybe to go to the next level of, okay, like there's Torah and there's, tradition, and maybe I'll light some candles for Shabbat, maybe I'll light some candles for Hanukkah, maybe I'll keep Shabbat, maybe I'll go to a dinner, maybe I'll try to find out what this is. But hopefully that doesn't take more physical threats for people to wake up on the spiritual level. Hopefully they're just going to wake up.
I don't know if those people ever wake up on the spiritual level, because once you cling to that victim mentality, then you have to get even. That's a whole psyop in itself. Then you never rise above. You never get it. So yeah, I mean, but I think what's happening is that the Jews that like him, like the leftist or whatever they are, that kind of woke up halfway, but I pray they'll keep going. But here's what those aren't the right words. I feel that I just watch it on Twitter for the opinion, the manufactured consent that Twitter is all about, the manufacturing of consent. And it seems that, and I've watched it for a really long time, probably my whole life, I've monitored anti-Semitism because it is the most horrific thing to me. And I know that it always returns. It always returns every 70 years. But, because it is a scourge, it is a disease, and it's not about the Jews at all. It's about the Gentiles. It is a scourge of them. And they don't even know it, which is so sad. But anyway, this time I think what's happening is that the Jews in Israel, when I watch the soldiers, particularly the women soldiers, it's pretty amazing. I watch what they do, and like I've said for a long time, the big change was coming in the psycho-spiritual world here about women. But oh my God, I have so many thoughts right now. But anyway, women, I feel like Jewish women have given themselves, and men too, Jewish people have given themselves permission to become fully human. And I am so excited because that is what Torah says must happen. And to see it happen in my lifetime, which is the first time I've ever seen it, I am just thrilled. I am so excited. I am really turned on to it that they would not apologize for being alive, that they would not apologize and explain what the laws are that make it possible for them to defend themselves under international law. Good, because that's all bullshit. And no other people on earth has ever been held to those standards. And as I've said for 25 years, the Jews must cease to be the moral hostages of the larger Western world. They're going to bring themselves down for it if they don't stop. And that's exactly what we're seeing. I said it in 2012 when I ran for president of these United States, as well as Prime Minister of Israel. I ran for both of them. I said it was a twofer because I saw it was the big sister and the little sister. And all of it is coincidentally tied into the thing that the Nazis themselves studied in their sadistic experimentations on captive populations, which is what they've been doing in Gaza, and nobody has any idea. But that disgusts me, but we'll go into that too. But what the Nazis did when they did their experiments on captive populations using the Jews in Germany and the Ukraine, where I'm from, where they killed that's where they started killing Jews. But it was when they got them off the trains, they had been trained, the soldiers and the capos, they used the capos for it to calm the women down, because they knew that the most fierce being on the face of the planet is the young mother of young children. There's nothing more fierce. And the Nazis were afraid of her. And so all of the stuff with the capos was used to calm the young, strong, physically fit women of young children, and to get them to right into the showers as soon as they could, because they knew that's where, up here in the real spiritual realm that we're fighting, which is called Bina, where wars are lost and won in the realm of the heart and the soul and the mind. And that's a pillar that connects straight up to Hashem. And you can get there through meditation, but we're not going to talk about that right now, unless you are a meditator and know that is indeed what the cumulative light of these 8 nights, 8 times 8 light, is 64. And if you take away the shamash that we use, the light at 63, which is another huge number, which I'd love to read to you about, but those are whole other subjects. But the young mother, the young woman, healthy and fit, who is protecting her children is, very fierce fighter. And it kind of breaks all the rules to even think that way. And that's why I want people to think that way, because all the rules are stayed dead and mean nothing at this time when we face what we face here. Because like I said, when I came to Jerusalem to speak in, I think it was 2015, I said, look what they've done. First of all, after the Shoah, after the Holocaust, then they instituted a Nakba of all the Jews of every Arab state. It was 1 million Jews were forced out of every Arab state after the Holocaust, and most went to Israel. So they already Judenrein the whole Arab state and Europe, you see, and, pretty much the Ukraine too. They went to Israel. So all the Jews were forced there. And now from the river to the sea, will they have their way to get rid of every Jew they forced down there? Will they? Well, you look at the streets and it's nothing but wall-to-wall Nazis in the youth going, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. We love the Philistines. We love the murderers of the Jews, the Philistines. We love Rome for calling it Philistina because, we love Rome. We love Rome. We are Rome. And, oh my God, they don't even know that much. They have no idea of history. They have no idea of the Jews in the Middle East or North Africa. They have no idea about Jews. And, that's the way the owners of the world want it. They want us gone. And, they're doing a damn good job of it. And the best way to finish it up is by calling all that from the European Shoah to the Arab Nakba, Judenrein Arab action against us, to now calling for our genocide and then calling our reaction to that genocide, to call for the genocide of 15 million people who fight against that genocide, proven genocide for over 75 years. That proven genocide, our population didn't go up 10 times like it did in Gaza. It didn't increase by 10 times over that genocide, but ours decreased to 15 million people in the Middle East from all of that history. And then when we fight the people who rape and murder and dismember us, we're called the genociders. And they can't get enough people to stand on their bridges and repeat that. And so what does that tell me when I do my search of the number 137? What does that tell me? Oh, the time machine. The time machine. These are indeed the last days of evil, because it's bullshit has hit the wall. And this time it's not going to go the way it always did before. This time it's not going to go that way. And why? Because we are standing in Israel. Our people are standing on their own holy ground. And that's what we're fighting for, is that we stand on our own holy ground and be able to visit I'm doing a podcast. I'll be out in a few, and be able to visit the tombs, therefore the memories of our sacred teachers and our sacred ancestors. Oh, we are there now. Although still under international law, we are not allowed under international law because we're apartheids. We are not allowed under international law to pray at our most sacred and holy site under international law, because we are genocidal. apartheid is. And their bullshit has just hit the wall, and people, it's going to take them a while to see it. I'm glad Spielberg's there to document more murder against the Jewish people. But, you know, wouldn't it be great if there wasn't any more of that? Wouldn't it be great if there was no more of that? And the monster, the Satan that causes it, was no more himself? Think about that when you light tonight. Think about that tonight. It being removed, the end. And how does that happen? Mashiach, the ultimate light of intelligence, of data, of fact, provable fact, not fairy tale fact, no, but provable fact that Israel has weapons of war that nobody else has, that only Israel could have invented. Only Israel would have invented a weapon that destroys buildings and leaves civilians alive. No other people could have done that, but we did do it. And we have already won. And so let them mark themselves, and, you know, don't try to change them, because Torah pretty much tells us, let their words stand, because light informs, lifts, liberates, and it also kills. It kills what is not pure, and it's time that it has to go. All the Jew hate that they live on and have, and some of them are Jews too, or in name only Ginos, care nothing for the Jewish people, care nothing for our ancestral homeland, care nothing if we keep this much and supposed to kiss Britain's ass for giving us this much of this much, that the rest of it they stole. But yeah, it's just time for history and fact to rise, and for opinion and religion, not based on fact, to go. And it is going to go. So think about all that when you're lighting tonight, because that is the revolt of the Maccabees against, how did they win? The Maccabees. You know, Jews are not allowed to read the history of the Maccabees and how the Maccabees defeated Rome. Did you know that? Because the Catholics took it and put it in their Apocrypha. It's not in our Torah. They threw out the book of Esther and the books of the Maccabees. Gee, why? And there's no mention of Hanukkah either in Torah. Why? Anyway, when you do go into the Apocrypha and read the history of the Maccabees, book 1 and book 2. Frank, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but we do. We read the Maccabees. Jews read the Maccabees, and you know, we talk about the Hashmonaim in the Gemara. It's there. It's there. You know.
It just wasn't canonized for
Right.
Sefer Maccabim for political reasons. It wasn't canonized.
Oh, I mean,
But it should have been canonized, because it is the way they defeated the Greeks, the Hellenists, and Rome twice. What did they do? This is the dangerous part. What did they do? They, you know, you hate to even say it if it's not Shabbat, you don't want to put it out there, but they pretty much destroyed the colluder.
That's right.
That's why they didn't even have to go for the enemy. And that's what Torah tells us about the Arab Rav in getting out of Egypt, and again in Hanukkah, which all the Jewish holidays are like kind of one story that goes up and down about the creation of a just place and a just law, and a path of the just is what Judaism is about. And that is what we have to protect. We have to die if we must to protect that, because no other place on earth has it. It has to stand. And I think that is the story of Esther in her prayer. It is the story of the Maccabees finding, you know, sanctified oil. and it having 8 times the power they assumed it had, even greater than 8 times the power they assumed. Because it has to stand that this people who every day pondered what was just, every day thought about, were consumed about, gave birth to ideas about what is just, what is justice, what is just law. That has to stand just in order for history to stand. So I think that is what we're fighting for. We're fighting for the path of the just, and it is only just that we someday, and someday soon, I think, we'll be praying at our holiest site in Jerusalem. Maybe next year in Jerusalem. May it be so. And did you see how Hashem is working, like sending locusts and rain and odd things like that? I don't think we have to go to war, because I think it's about light, expanded light, and the expanded light of knowing that there are weapons that you don't have any idea about is just fantastic, because light is intelligence, and that this same people who wondered what was just and worked to prove what was just and worked to make what was just appear in the world, this same people, not all of us, a lot of us are horrible, but some of us created something beautiful out of a barren desert. And you know, I don't understand why the world wants to torment a people so PTSD who have atomic weapons. I don't, but apparently they do, because they're that stupid. But it's like the bad boyfriend. It's the bad boyfriend where he's like, you made me beat you up. You made me.
Yeah.
But you know what happens? One of them is going to go, and you know what? It isn't going to be us.
Yeah.
That's right. Because can I address
Because we're human beings, and we are not saints. We are not on any lofty pedestal anymore where we go, oh, we don't do what they do. Well, yeah, we do, and we do it even better. Hello. We're fully human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, please, Frank.
There's a couple. You asked several very important questions while you were teaching us. What is two of them? What is our religion, and what are we fighting for? I figured out a way to boil it down.
Oh, good.
So, if we just clear the table of history, let's go back, to the beginning. So, this world has a creator.
That's right.
And the creator had something in mind with the world that he created, and he's creating constantly. And he's not a he, but in the relationship between him and us, he's
right.
The husband, just to put that into context.
Yeah, we're the girl.
We're the girl. You're right. It took me a while to get used to that one, but it is what it is, Hey, listen, it's so basically he had something in mind, and actually he let us know what it was. There was this event called Mount Sinai. He dropped by, and he let us know what are his preferences, and he told us that he's given us the choice to accommodate him or not. However, he's not giving us the choice forever. It's about 6,000 years total. About 6,000 years is about the time he's going to give us a chance to form a relationship with him if we choose. So he told us what he wants. He told us he's the creator. He told us what he wants, and has given us some time to establish it if we want to have a relationship with him. Okay, so international law, as you mentioned, is the diametric opposite of everything that he wants. Anybody who supports international law, including the false government of Israel, is working against the creator.
Right.
if you think about it practically, that's unwise. Once the truth comes out and people realize what's actually going on, I think we're just about there. We're just about there, and there's going to be, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be a bit awkward for those who were working against the intentions and the overall goals of the creator who had a reason for creating us. Okay,
Right.
so as simply as possible, the Jews, even our existence, even those who are working against it unconsciously, against God's will, just our existence represents God's kingdom. The fact that God will be king. You understand? So basically God created a world, and the world, he views it as a kingdom, and the people are his subjects. All human beings are his subjects. He gave a name to his kingdom. And people know the name of this kingdom, but they attribute it to some kind of ethnic, group, which are called the Jews or Israel. But really, that's the name of the kingdom of humanity. That was
That's
God's
right.
name for his kingdom. God's the king. Okay,
Mhm.
so basically, and Esther is the Shekhinah, and the Shekhinah is a special presence that God established for us to interact with. That's the way that God's going to address us. He's going to be in the form of the Shekhinah. That's going to be our experience of God. Okay, so that's what Esther is, and that's why it keeps going back.
Esther is also that God is seen in coincidence.
Yeah.
God does his best work in coincidences and synchronicities. Don't think they just happen.
No, nothing just happens. Nothing. And I'll just say a quick word about Hanukkah, then I'll shut up and give it back to you. So Hanukkah.
No, I'm enjoying hearing you, and I have to go get my baby. Hold on.
All right. The moment you get fed up, just tell me to shut up.
I will.
All right. I know. Oh, I know.
Who's knocking?
Frank and I talk for 3 hours on our show, and
Hey, could
You know.
go?
What's odd is that I don't say a single word for the entire rest of the day. My wife is like, talk to me.
Really?
I can't kiss my.
so
My
basically, oh, okay. What happened to you, Joe?
I was using hyperbole. Like I'm so tired. Damn it, Greg. Always ruining shtick. This guy's a chronic shtick ruiner.
I didn't hear what you said. The internet is
That's even worse.
yes.
Greg is usually not listening to me during our podcast. He's like, responding to some troll on the, you could hear him typing. His typing.
I'm trolling the trolls. The trolls must be trolled.
This is also part of our shtick.
If it's okay with you, maybe Lowell also, our friend Ilyokim Cohen is here as well. He's in
Oh
the room.
boy.
So maybe he's in the Tanya, and he has interesting
Oh,
things
cool.
to impart. If
But
it's
me first. Ooh, I was first.
all right. No, I mean, obviously, no.
Well, should we go to the guest who's been here longest first, though?
Sure.
Who's
course.
this person with the beret?
That would be Lolly.
Hello.
The beret, that's Barbara, I think.
Hi, Barbara.
Actually, Miriam. I think Miriam. If
Miriam.
you're asking who's here longest, I think it's probably Miriam.
Everyone can unmute themselves. Go right ahead.
No pressure though. And, we're not trying to put you on the spot.
I
No.
just went down to the store down the road before lighting the candles here in London.
Oh, cool.
And the guy,
Happy 8th night.
thank you. And the guy charged me £8.88.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
pretty
How
cool.
about that? I bought a few things. It just came to 888.
That's pretty cool.
That's great. So
Roseanne.
Barbara, do you have anything to say?
I've just been listening. I really appreciate everything. I'm a Noahide and I love Israel. I have a rabbi in Jerusalem, and I'm just really thrilled to hear all the things that I'm learning a lot. Thank you.
Oh, cool. Well, we're glad you're here. So, all right, now who am I turning it back over to? Svi or what?
I want to say one quick thing, and
Uh-huh.
then maybe either Frank or Eliakim will. You
Yeah.
mentioned the whole from the river to the sea thing, and I heard from Rabbi Reuven Wolf in Los Angeles. He basically said that it's like the Bilam effect. You know, these people are
Mhm.
screaming from the river to the sea, from the river to the sea. That's basically their curse to us, and that curse is going to turn into a blessing.
Yes, it is.
And hopefully
It's Bilam. Yeah, Bilam. I love that. I love that story so much. Bilam and Bilak. Love
mhm,
it. It's
mhm.
so appropriate for, yeah.
No,
Did you
so
s-
we're going to
did
get
you
our
see the
land. We're going to
Turkish?
get the entirety of our land back.
Did you see the Turkish member of parliament in the parliament a day or two ago?
Same
He
thing.
was
Yeah.
he was cursing Erdogan that we weren't Turkey isn't being anti-Israel enough, and he shouted, "May God strike Israel down!" And at that moment, he collapsed with a heart attack. And
He's
today,
dead. He's dead. Yeah.
today he's passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I shouldn't laugh. It's so terrible to laugh when but it is just like God is so funny. We have to remember how funny God is because he's got the best timing.
Yeah. How about that guy who lit the Israeli flag on fire and then caught on fire and ran away? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Same idea. Same idea.
Did you see the Kaaba submerged in water though?
The what?
Flooded.
The Kaaba? In Saudi Arabia?
In Mecca, I didn't know. Oh, check that out.
At first,
Yeah,
at first it was covered in locusts. Did you
Oh,
Google
that I saw. Yeah.
and then submerged in water?
Oh,
It's crazy.
You know what they got in there, right?
It's like some sort of a
is it a meteor? Some kind
stone
of
or meteor or something like that.
I don't know. I got to do more research.
Hmm.
People say a lot of things. They got something in there.
There's like a black stone that everybody tries to touch when they, when
Yeah.
they do circuits around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that stone is definitely
But
something very.
it said that Jesus said that's where they have they've contained the devil or something. So that's why they're happy because they feel like they have defeated Satan or something like that.
Oh, they're the
Contained
Jal or
him.
the Jal or whatever they call it. Something like that.
Want some blankets? Yeah, what's a blanket?
Like
Yeah,
somebody's
yeah.
I don't know, but I did read recently that the stone that they have, the black lodestone that they have at the UN, is connected and is symbolic. It's connected to the stone that they have in Mecca, because Dag Hammarskjöld,
Hammarskjöld, yeah.
Mhm.
the first or the second UN Secretary
He was the
General.
first. He was the first one.
First, he was a Sufi.
Yeah.
Sufi Rosicrucian, which is basically the same thing. Gnostic fruitcake. So there's definitely something to, something of interest there to research.
Yeah.
Well, each one of those, the thing is that each one of those things has an element of Torah in it. That's why it continues. Otherwise, it would flake off into nothing. It wouldn't even, nobody would buy into it at all. But that's how they get it all, is that they take a piece of Torah and put it in. Therefore, it's got a little bit of light in it. And that's what attracts a certain kind of person, because like Abraham said that I can't remember how many sons, but he sent 6 to the east. So there's so much Torah in Buddhism, in Hinduism, all that has a little bit of Torah in it. Like the Freemasonry has a little Torah in it. The Catholic has a little bit of Torah in it. Christianity has some Torah in it. They just say the Old Testament, but it's Torah. But it has some Torah in it. So that's what attracts a certain person. And those are the same levels as partas, I think. But when you have it in your blood, like, y'all, we do, when it's like from families of rabbis and stuff, of students for, I don't know how many generations in my family, forever, that they were always sitting here. What was it, 2,000 years in exile? It's amazing that it even stayed, but it did stay. Isn't it amazing memory? And you think about all the Nazi experiments on people were to try to figure out what is this memory thing. Not only the mother thing they didn't like is that a mother's connection to her children, how could they break that? Well, they finally figured that one out. It took them a long time, but they did figure it out. Gender. They could break that connection there with the gender, that transgender stuff they do. Remember when it used to be called Transjordan? Because
Yeah.
it was Israel when the original partition in 1948, the partition of Palestine, which they all lie about and deny, but the partition of Palestine in which there was Transjordan and Israel, but then Transjordan was the Palestinian state, right? But that wasn't enough for them to just have Jordan. They had to steal Gaza from the Jews too, and then called them Palestinians. When they just did their DNA, none of them are from Palestine. None of them, they're all from Jordan.
There's
The
a
DNA proves it, or Egypt, or
Roseanne.
some.
There was a girl,
Morocco, Yemen, Saudi Arabia.
an Arab girl did this something on Instagram where she was like complaining that 23andMe took out the Palestinian genetic marker, and then this Jewish girl responded to her. She goes, and they put in like, oh, she got her results came. It was like Lebanese and Jordan and Syria, and the Jewish girl responded to her. She's like, sweetie, there's no such thing as a Palestinian genetic, because these are things according to geography, but there's no such thing as a
Right.
Palestinian genetic marker. There was a Lebanese one, there's a Jordanian one, there's a Syrian one.
It's
There's
such
no
a
such
lie,
thing.
but they can't wait to swallow it
Yeah.
because they've all gone to those Transjordan universities, Trans-Jesuit, I mean.
There ain't no transgenders in
These are
Transjordan.
but it's the same thing, Transjordan, Trans-Jesuit, transgender Jesuit. It's the same thing. It's an op. And it is always the same op too. They got to keep on perfecting it till it actually works. Like the WEF, now they have, artificial intelligence. That's really going to work for them. Not. Their arrogance is fucking off the charts.
Our friend Ilyokim wants to say something, I think, Roseanne.
But I think that their arrogance, it always is,
No.
or it says that it's always the same as ignorance. The two things are married. Ignorance and arrogance are married. And it always takes the person down because they always undo themselves due to that fact. Okay, now I'll turn it over. But their arrogance and their ignorance, it just causes them to expose themselves in front of us so we can get the consciousness raised. It's a great thing.
Lol, can you unmute our friend Ilyokim? I think he wants to say something.
Come on.
Oh, here he is.
Unmute himself.
Oh, there you go.
Go unmute yourself.
Roseanne, I just want, growing up in the suburbs of Boston, I loved your show. I never even knew you were Jewish. And now you're like just a total superstar. I just want to A, say hello and thank you. And B, one thing you mentioned is that you feel bad laughing that this Turkish piece of garbage literally slandered the Jewish people and dropped dead within seconds. There's a midrash that when Mordechai was given the honors, he ended up kicking Haman, and Haman said to him specifically, doesn't your Torah teach that you should not rejoice in the downfall of other people? And Mordechai says to him specifically, that is when the downfall is one of your brothers. That is the downfall of a Jew. When it's not the downfall of a Jew, it's very specific in the Midrash Rabbah of Purim that you can rejoice. This guy literally is slandering Israel, and it's like 1 second later. I mean, so I've been saying to my friends, the funny part about this is we don't know if it's immediate divine punishment or if he just was safe and effective and dropped dead with it.
Maybe he felt like, I feel like it was probably like he was feeling something was going wrong in his body and he was getting all freaked out and stuff. So he had to blame the Jews. He knew he was going to have a heart attack. So that means, oh my God, the Jews.
Look, I just want to say one thing. We just got back from a lot. And, I've been seeing this video of Michael Rappaport who's a radical anti-Trump leftist. But when it comes to Jews in Israel, he just seems to get it right. So I'm sure
Yeah.
you've seen the parody of the Hogwarts. I mean, the fact that satire is now less absurd than what actually happened in Congress, and even the head of Pfizer, Albert Bourla, who is one of the most evil, despicable human beings ever, said flat out that what happened in Congress was the most shameful act in American history. It's just mind blowing to me that Jews around the world are not waking up and seeing the enormity of the last 2 months. I mean, there's just
You know why?
incredible.
Because I feel like it's because of their complete brainwashing of Jews by the left. And subsequent, the Jews fell madly in love with Obama because he's a large part was because he said all the code words, the socialist code words.
Right.
But also because he's black. And, those Jews, like, they're just so completely racist that and anti what MLK said about content of character, not color of skin. Well, they're the other way. Color of skin means more to them than anything. Of course, they don't know any black people, really. They just follow contemporary black culture people and pretend they're their black friends. Because like Obama is the black Hitler, and they don't even know that. They don't even know what he did with the Iran deal, what he did in Israel, trying to steal all the elections, trying to manipulate their judicial system against the, believers. He hates Jewish believers.
Right.
Excuse me. He's Mr. Jihad and Hitler all rolled up into one with some dark skin. And they love him. They couldn't love him more because, his skin is their sexual fetish. And, that's how their libtard parents of the 60s raised their ass to be, and then send them to Catholic fucking universities to get, fucked in the head too, as well as the anus. I'm sick of it.
This is a dream. Roseanne, I just want, before I sign off, I don't want to, there's other people I'm sure that want to talk. Real dream come true for someone that grew up watching you. Found out when I, maybe 8-9 years ago, when I started a news site, that you're actually Jewish. B, you have a brain. And C, now you're like one of the big crusaders for the Jewish people. I don't flatter people, but I really want to say Torah, thank you. And it's just a real privilege to be able to talk to you right now.
Thank you so much for kind words.
Thank you. Very heady time. And every single person when we did the last episode, when I was on with you two, these same exact people, I remember all their faces. So there's very few people right now, including lots of rabbis, some that you and I love very much, Tzvi, that totally got it wrong on Corona and on a few other things. And it's exactly what the Talmud says. At the end of times, there's who do you trust other than Hashem? Yeah. We're in like
I'm telling you one thing. You can't get bigger than me on this planet. Let's be real. And you can trust me. So everybody relax. I know the whole effing thing because I'm autistic. I have a thing for seeing a system. I figured it out. I prayed about it. I have other people that know it too. And we know about the number 137, which you are shortly to hear about. So, Baruch Hashem, and happy Hanukkah.
Wow. Baruch Hashem. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
You can mute me again.
Okay, bye.
Say hello.
Peace.
There's that guy in the woods. He's back. Let's see what he's saying. The guy that thinks it's all going to end. Let's see what he's got to say for himself.
Yochanan, can you unmute yourself in your tent over there, please?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
not a joke. He really lives in a tent.
I
Hi.
love it.
Hi. I agree with the last speaker very much. We can only trust Hashem alone, and we got to learn to hear His voice, because there's nobody that's 100% here. You
That's
know,
right.
and you look, you can see how Trump got it wrong with the vaccine. You know, and there's all it. So this is our way. If we seek the road of righteousness, that which is 100%, you know, that
Yeah.
of which like the fruit from a tree of life. It's 100%. It's not the 99. It's 100%. And we got to know His voice. We got to know. We got to learn to hear
Yep.
His voice.
Yep.
And because we're going through fire, we're going to go through the fire,
Mm-hmm.
because this is the end time, and the earth will be destroyed by fire. And through that, we're going to be purified and come out as a chosen people, the faithful remnant.
Well, I got to read you about 137. Should I do it now? Because my son's saying I got to get off the phone, because guess what I'm doing? You guys won't believe it. You know, every Shabbat, I want to say this. I said this on the Rosh Hashanah one, but I'm going to reiterate. Every Shabbat, like I go, okay, what? I mean, I don't just go, you know, whatever. But I end up going, show me this week what I'm to do. Show me what I'm supposed to do. Put me there, and when I'm there, open my mouth. Show me what to do. I want to be of my highest use to my people and hence the world, because my people, according to our Torah, our teachings, we were put here to save everything. And as soon as we start acting like we're supposed to, that's what's going to happen. So that's what I work for. That if it's just me, if it ends up just being me and you three guys, that's cool, because that's enough. If there's 50 people hearing us, but I happen to know that there are millions of us, and it's so exciting. We are in a time machine, and we've already won. And Rav Kook, that wrote the whole stuff about Zionism, I wanted to say this too, for the people in Israel. He said that the first step of Zionism is when the nation returns to its ancestral land, because then you can go and do what you need to do to visit the tombs and the holy places, to go to the holy mikvahs. You can begin to do what you were not allowed to do for these thousands of years of diaspora. You're able to come home now and do what you were put here to do, what you always did do when you were a kingdom, when you lived, before the jackals attacked and stole everything and built tunnels everywhere to move your gold out into the world. Think about Gaza and those tunnels. Think about how God works so mysteriously, but the tunnels laid bare with very few deaths. Tunnels laid bare all through Gaza, all the way through ports and places, even into other countries, like into Europe. Tunnels laid bare. Think about it. It's amazing. These are the times we're living in. So don't forget to look around you and see what God is making occur in the world, not just in your mind, but see what God is making occur in the world. Because like Esther is about seeing the synchronicities and the coincidences. That doesn't just happen in your bubble. That's what's actually in the world, and why it's so important that we read and digest a variety of sources. And I mean, talk about democracy. But, you know, there's so many news sources going up of people in Israel putting up things, and I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to see people like us put forth arguments that are based on historic fact. Because for so long, people like us who had the historic fact, we didn't say anything because, like, there's just a bunch of idiots fighting in the street. It doesn't matter. But now it calls on those who have academic background in law and history to step forward. So that's a great thing for the Jewish people too. And it's a great thing for fact to come forth. Historic fact, all of it, not the whitewashed kind, since post World War II and post Arab Nakba and all of that. We can't have it go to a Stalinist place, because they'll get rid of all the Jewish history. They'll burn all them books back 6,000 years. Stalinists are the ones who really hate religion and Torah. They hate Torah. That's why they hate Jews, because we have the Torah. Everybody always says that. Why do they hate the Jews? And they say, oh, you know, this and that and the other. But the reason that everybody hates the Jews is because we have Torah, period.
Because they hate God, and that's what we represent here in this world. And can I tell you why the Stalinists, even regardless how much they hate Torah and try to burn all, why they're never going to succeed? Well, God won't allow it. Like, for instance, we're in Hanukkah right now. Hanukkah is the light of Torah. And Hanukkah is actually the light of creation. When God created the world, he said, let there be light. And that's not the light that we know right now. That's not the sun and the stars and the moon. This is a different kind of light that we can't even really imagine. And because of what happened in the garden with Adam and Eve,
the hidden light.
The hidden light, the Or HaGanuz, right? And God withdrew that light after what happened with Adam and Eve and the snake. And by the way, Eliakim, Mordechai rejoiced over Haman because Haman was the snake, not because he was a human being. Okay, and there's an idea, actually in the Talmud it says, when a Gnostic dies, that's a day of rejoicing, because a Gnostic is a snake, not a human being, like most of the world is. But back to the Hanukkah thing. So even though they sinned, or however you want to understand that story, they experienced 36 hours of the Or HaGanuz. Adam and Eve.
That's right.
And each candle that we light on Hanukkah represents one of those hours. It literally is a glimpse into the future, because the light, the Or HaGanuz, the light of creation, will return to us. That's why Jews, by the way, even when they're not religious, and even when they, we're all Tinok Shenishba, right? Children of captivity. We're ignorant.
Yes.
And that's, but what holiday? Hanukkah is not even a biblical holiday yet. That's the one that everybody knows about. Even I knew about it before I knew what Shabbat was,
right,
until I was like 15. So, so that's why it's this particular holiday that is stuck, because it represents the light of the future. It's the light of the earliest moment of history and the light of the future, because you keep mentioning time machine. The Hanukkah menorah is a time machine. And
yes.
and it reminds us that we need one more aspect to finish the job, because the total amount of lights that we light is 36, but if you factor in the shamash, then it's 44, right? And
right.
So that reminds us we need one more, even though that's my favorite caliber of pistol, but it still reminds us that we need one more light. That's Mashiach. And the number 45, as you know, Shem Ma, right? That's the number of Mashiach. So
by the way, Frank, the gematria of the letters on the dreidel, which I just was reminded of today, is 358, which is also Mashiach. Nes Gadol, a great miracle happened here. All those 4 letters.
Wow.
And those 4 letters, of course, represent the 4 empires that
Yes,
Persia,
that's the
Greece,
way.
Rome, Babel, Persia, Greece, Rome, and how they tried different ways to subjugate us physically, spiritually, both.
Well, they can't subjugate us for 2 reasons, because there's nothing more vicious than a Jewish mother. All of you know that. And
In
2,
a good way. In a good way.
oh,
Vicious-
and a bad way too.
Well, even that. It's well
I mean,
intended.
if somebody's messing with my kids, they better look out, because it will be stopped.
Well, that's
Okay.
good.
Listen to the number 137, okay, guys?
Yes. Yes.
My friend Billy Phillips wrote this. He speaks about this all the time. 137 is the biggest mystery and most important number in all of science, without question. 137 refers to electrons and the odds of an electron absorbing a single photon. Or in simple language, it is about vessel and light, or the physical body of man and his ability to ignite the light from his soul and arouse the light in the extraordinary 99% of reality so that it shines in our plain, ordinary world. Please do not worry if you don't understand the science and physics associated with this number, also known as the fine structure constant. That's not what's important in this article. And by the way, most physicists don't understand it either, but they do admit and know that it's the most important number in the universe. You can Google it later if you want to know more about how it works in physics and why it's important. But in this article, I will offer up the simple bottom line connection to this mysterious number, a number that has the greatest physicists in history scratching their collective heads. For instance, one of the important physicists of the 20th century, Richard Feynman, wrote the following about the number 137. Quote, "It has been a mystery ever since it was discovered more than 50 years ago, and all good theoretical physicists put this number up on their wall and worry about it. It is one of the greatest damn mysteries of physics, a magic number that comes to us with no understanding by man. You might say the hand of God wrote that number, and we don't know how he pushed his pencil. You might say the hand of God wrote that number 137. And then he goes into all the various physicists who talk about that number, and what it means in physics, about particle physics. But here's what it says in the Torah about that number. It comes up often in the Torah. It is the most common age for the biblical characters. Abraham is 137 years old when he binds Isaac in the Torah portion of Vayera. When you, you realize that relates directly to the idea of an electron absorbing a photon, or desire connecting to light. We must bind our ego, Isaac, the negative desire, in order to connect to the hidden, concealed realm of light, Abraham. That's what the story of Abraham binding his son Isaac is all about. Moses' father lived to 137, Ishmael to 137, Levi to 137. And what is also amazing is that the phrase, the Cohen and Levites, has the numerical value of 137. Noah had 3 sons and 70 descendants. There's 137 again. Adam led 3 patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which led to 70 family members, 137. There are 304,805 letters in the Torah. What happens if you reverse the numbers in pairs? 50 times 84 times 03 equals 137. Moses' tabernacle, the early dwelling place of God, was 13.7 meters long. My teacher explained that 137 is the 33rd prime number. Why 33? The Rav said the number 33 lives on and on and on. Sure enough, 33 is the day Rav Shimon left this world, the holiday known as Lag Bomer. This is the day when all the light of the Zohar are revealed into the physical world, or the electron absorbs the photon. The 33rd day of Omer is the day Rabbi Akiva taught Rav Shimon. The 33rd day of the Omer is the day when Rav Shimon left the cave after 13 years of learning. Rav Shimon left the cave is equal to the full revelation of the light on Mount Sinai with Moses. 137 by way of 33 also connects in a profound way. Our purpose in this world is to unite the physical world, electron, with the spiritual world of light, photon. And that is what 137 teaches us to do. 33 is the highest degree in the Scottish Rite Freemasonry, which is based on Kabbalah. 33 is the age that Kabbalist Yehoshua ben Yosef, otherwise known as Jesus, left this world. 137 also plays a role cosmically. NASA's Wilkinson Microwave Anisotropy Probe has taken the best measurement of the age of the universe to date. Scientists now have the best estimate on the age of the universe, 13.7 billion years of age. How can this bizarre connection between 137 and the Zohar, what can that tell us? The Rav said 137 is about making a connection between an unseen force and a seen force. The seen force is our desire, the realm of this physical world, which we call the 1% reality. The unseen realm is the source of wisdom and happiness, the hidden 99% reality. 137 is about making the connection between an unseen force and a seen force. That's why I tell you, watch what is occurring in the world. It is an incredible time, a time where words fail. Only God could do it. There's so much more, and you can read about it at billyphillips.com if you want to.
Isn't there
We
one
talk
more
about
thing?
numbers.
Isn't there one more 137 that's pretty fundamental? You know this, you told me this before.
Yeah, you go ahead, tell.
137 is Gematria Kabbalah.
Yes.
Yep.
If you add up the numbers of 137 together, you get 11. In warfare, using the weapons known by the Hebrew word korbanot, which means sacrifices, the evil side, that's the Satan, Balak and Balaam, the negative black magicians, right? Because the other side, they don't have God, so they have to invent this crazy magic. But it only works because they have a little bit of the spark of Torah that they stole. But now, when the unseen merges with the seen, that isn't going to work for them anymore. It's not going to work because they only can operate in the unseen secret world. So when the seen and the holy, when the two meld, that leaves him out. That leaves Satan out. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The other side knew 10 was part of this physical reality to control it. They knew they had to do their magic. But the Israelites know 10 was not ultimate, but rather 11 is. 11 is part of the 11 spices spoken of in Torah and Zohar. And all the activities of the morning connection, the morning prayers add up to 11. 11 is a good number. 2 times 11 is 22, the number of letters in the alphabet. 3 times 11 is 33, Rabbi Shimon and Lag Bomer. The Rav stopped talking for a few minutes, and then after a while, the Rav returned. Why is 11 chosen as a good number? 10th Sphirot is limiting because even in the realm of the Ein Sof, the endless world above this physical world, we are not dealing with the ultimate light. So 11 is higher than 10. Explain, we asked the Rav. The Rav said, 11 is higher than 10 in the endless world. There is light and vessel, which means there is still a vessel. But then there is the unknowable source of light, the source behind the emanation of the endless world, which the Zohar will not deal with. Kabbalah only deals with the light that shines outward, not the source of the light. The source is beyond human intellect and can never be grasped because it's higher. Then the Rav summarized 137. The whole process of life is one thing, desire. The desire to receive light, which is why they call this Kabbalah. Kabbalah means to receive. The engine behind all activity on earth, all human action, is desire, a craving for light. There is war, conflict, and human misery only because we have not fulfilled that one desire. That is the only reason. I asked the Rav about electrons, quarks, and leptons. In electricity, there is 110 volts and there is 220 volts. Both use the same force of electricity. It is the capacity of the equipment that you plug into the electrical force that determines if it is 110 or 220, but the electrical force is always the same. There's only desire to receive consciousness. The different particles are just different vessels with different capabilities, but it's all one singular force of consciousness. How that one force is used and received is what makes the difference and accounts for all diversity. Our desire to receive can no longer continue to operate as it has in the past, to be selfish. We must change and start receiving for the sake of benefiting others. That's what the Jews are supposed to do on Hanukkah. Receive the light for the desire to benefit the world, for peace in the world. That is why we create and receive light of Hanukkah on this night. The number 137 in physics corresponds to the interaction between an electron and a photon, or the probability of an electron absorbing a photon. In the language of Kabbalah, that means the interaction between the vessel and the light, or how a vessel can absorb and receive the light. We know that we are distant and disconnected from the light when we are opposite in nature, because in the realm of consciousness or spirituality, opposites repel. The only way for our physical world, the electron, to absorb, receive the light is to imitate the light, behave like the light, and that stops repulsion. It turns, it causes attraction. The missing puzzle piece for physics is consciousness. Only by way of consciousness can we absorb and connect to the light in a lasting and permanent way. How? When we first admit and recognize that our ego is a distinct and separate force of consciousness. Often that takes a lifetime. Then we strive to remove it so that we share instead of only receive. We then unite with the light. In other words, the light is the cause of happiness. Therefore, when we become the cause of someone else's happiness, we are identical to the light. Instead of making our own dreams come true, which disconnects us because we are receiving the direct opposite of sharing light, we need to start making other people's dreams come true. But don't worry about dedicating your time and talent making other people's dreams come true. You won't have to worry because the rest of the world will be striving to make all of your dreams come true. That is the longest held secret. That's the formula for immortality in paradise. When we are all working to make everybody else's dreams come true, using our gifts and our talents for the sole purpose of causing happiness in others, all 10 dimensions of the 10 Sphirot will align and connect. Suddenly, the endless world and the physical world unite as one. The one realm of the light connects to the three upper sephirot, which connect with the lower seven sephirot, and suddenly light flows. One connects to three, which connects to seven forever. Happiness manifests. 137 creates one unified whole. Oneness between people creates oneness between the one, the three, and the seven. So it is as Rabbi Akiva's last words on this earth were one. Throw away all the details and physics and just realize when you love your neighbor, you change your life and this world. But also know that you can only love your neighbor when you remove the one force that prevents you from loving unconditionally, and that is the human ego. So instead of chasing after love, chasing after happiness, and chasing after joy, start chasing after your own ego, your own selfish traits, your own hatred, your own baseless hatred, not the same as hatred you need to have to survive. Those are two different things, but baseless hatred for your neighbor based on nothing. And because that always leads to civil war. We're only talking about our particular group right now. When Jews act in order to benefit other Jews, we cancel the Erev Rav. That's what this also means. When we act to protect and to assure the continuity and existence of Jews, we cancel that decree from long ago, which still exists, called Pax Romana presently. We cancel it when we act with love toward our fellow Jews who deserve us to act that way to them. Uh-oh. I'm
I
lost.
just want to say that
I can't
in
get
in
back.
in Janine,
I don't know how to find y'all.
hear me?
Maybe you can hear us.
I can hear you, yes. Go ahead.
That's all that matters.
In Jenin, in Yehuda Shomron, after 50 hours of fighting, an Israeli soldier in a mosque this morning got hold of the microphone and went, "Oh, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad," and it was broadcast throughout the whole of Jenin. He got into a lot of trouble for it, but
Wow.
I thought it was terrific.
Isn't that great?
Yeah,
Wow.
it was amazing. Absolutely.
It boomed out. It boomed out throughout the whole city.
Oh my gosh, how many times did those people have to keep trying and keep losing before they just leave us the hell alone? They lose every time, and then they whine their way back and getting the whole world on their side with their bullshit.
Roseanne, I mean, it's not just them. It's I think it was a couple of weeks ago I heard one of our generals was objecting, our lefty generals was objecting to the fact that there's a bunch of soldiers in Gaza who are doing anything, religion or Shabbat related.
Uh-huh.
And our soldiers, whether they come from religious families or don't, are gonna do what they're gonna do wherever they are, and they're gonna. That's really the only orders. I mean, that's not even orders. That's really the only things they can do autonomously despite the objections of the higher ups, not their direct commanders, but
I
we're talking,
know, that's why I say,
and they're
what do they
transcending it.
think
Yeah.
they're defending?
Yeah.
That's why I like to ask him, what are
Yeah.
you defending?
Yeah.
If
Well,
it's
you
not
know,
the people's religion, if it isn't Judaism, to practice Judaism, you're saying you can't do that in the Jewish state? What in the hell kind of Jewish state is that?
those guys are defending their, those top brass guys are defending their political posts, which is why they haven't taken care of this problem since, the removal of Jews from Gush Katif, and only now that it's like this
You mean the
popular.
same ones that
Yeah.
didn't do nothing for 6 hours when the
Yeah,
peace
same
activists were getting
same ones,
murdered?
same ones, and now that
I
it's,
wouldn't be listening to them if
yeah,
I
for
was
sure,
over there,
for
and I'm
sure.
sure the people over there that think like me ain't.
Yeah.
I want to add that soldier that was on the megaphone in Jenin, they were just relieved from their duties. They've been kicked out of army combat. It just came out on the news today for anyone that
I guess
wants to see
Israel
how.
doesn't want the Jewish, doesn't want Jewish Americans, the only ones left, to
Roseanne,
defend more. I guess they don't want us on their side. Okay.
Roseanne, I'll tell you a secret. During COVID, a lot of people I know were trying to make Aliyah from the States, and most of them are religious. Actually, all of them are religious, and they were telling me all kinds of stories where, the Jewish agency and certain offices in the government were asking them for like the most ridiculous things, pieces of paper, which I never, when I was making Aliyah in 2010, I never heard of such a thing. And basically the conclusion is that they know that most of the people who want to make Aliyah from North America, are crazy religious folks, and who needs more of those? We already have
Yeah.
that critical mass in Israel. And so, again, all this stuff is going to be transcended by the soldiers and by the people of Israel. It's just going to be organically transcended by the masses
Well,
who
I
actually
think,
have souls.
well, it's so Obama-sized over there in Tel Aviv. It's 100% Obama-sized. That's what I've said. He put a lot of money in there to swing those. He's so involved in every kind of corruption. But of course, no one wants to ever look at that because, he's their Obama, I call him. But, they regard him as Mao, that's what they think. I mean, with no evidence of anything. They think that just because he's black, I think. Because they're like, I like a black guy. Look at me. I'll do anything a black guy says. Look at me, aren't I cool? I'll even kiss their feet like in all those videos. I'll kiss any black man's feet because I love Obama that much. Oh my God. It's like they just have everybody as a slave. They're trying to raise this generation of being mindless warriors to fight each other in the streets. And then they win again and we lose, the working people. They lose. They're all killing each other.
Our friend Miriam says he did a lot for Aliyah because so many of us wanted to get away from him.
I know. But he's still he's still running everything. This is his 3rd term.
Sure.
And they're still loving on him. Oh, they love it. They love when it costs $19 for a loaf of bread. They love it because he's black. That's great. And all the black people dying homeless in the street on drugs and, lost their homes. That's great because a black guy was in charge. Great. I mean, if that isn't the greatest mind control thing they've ever thought of, the owners of the world, I mean, the people in Switzerland, the Nazis who control the money supply, but they don't want nobody to know that, but they do. Burn Switzerland there, the Bank of International Settlements, where they send out, it's the Jews, look over there. And everybody buys it because they're raised to buy it. It's going to go. So happy to see it go too, because we've taken their shit long enough. And you know what? They forget every time they do it every 70 years. They forget. Well, that was in another country where we did that. Instead, here's how they say it. Well, Jews get kicked out of wherever they go. They erase the agency of they erase themselves as the agent. They erase their own rife racism towards us and then say we're white and cause them racism. I mean, if it isn't the perfect bullshit maneuver of the left, I call it, it's the, well, it is Chrislam, the Chrislamic Communist Revolution Jihad Crusade. It's war on three fronts against the Jewish people. And what have we got? Well, we got a lot of Torah scholars. They don't have none of that. So I guess that means we win.
Eventually.
It says you know what? It says it's now. It says it's now. It's always now, and here it is now again. It's now. But it also gives the year 2024 to 2026. And it also told us the Jubilee year after I was going into that and I got so waylaid, but Rav Kook, the first step, the nation returns. The second thing that happens is the nation practices what it's supposed to do, which is the Jubilee. And that has happened because now we're seeing all their whole financial Jeffrey Epstein scam grift is exploding. So the nation returned to its land. The nation practiced Jubilee. The nation returns to its national character. And that's why I say it's great, because we realize ourselves as being fully human. That was our national character as a tribe, as a people, as a group of tribal peoples. It wasn't just us, it was everyone in the Middle East that they took away their tribal lands too, not just us, but all of our cousins' lands, they took them too. It's corporatocracy of Pax Romana versus all tribal rights. That's where we're living right now. But we can see it with all that knowledge in our head, just actually become aware of it. And that changes so much. It changes everything. Awareness is everything. That's all there is. Awareness of history, awareness of now. And it's Hanukkah. It's fantastic. Man, everything exists in mind.
You keep saying how it's our time to fully realize or to fully behave and be in a real way fully human. And that's very, very on the money, because when you study the stuff that a lot of people, it's in our Torah tradition, a lot of people don't look into it, but they talk about what was Adam brought to the world for. It mentions him all over the place in our statements from our sages that he was the Messiah of his time. I mean, why did the world need a Messiah? Wasn't it just created? Nope. He was the final creation, right? Actually, Eve was the final creation, but she's part of Adam. And he was brought Adam, which means man, human. That's what it means to be, when you say human, according to our Torah, that means Adam. What is Adam? It's a certain type of consciousness. It's a certain type of soul. What was here before that?
A lot of students that I know say, they spell it ATOM.
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 ATOM. Yeah, of course. It's something very fundamental. But what was Adam? What was different about Adam than everything that had existed before? What do we have before? We have the Haya, the animals, right? What's an animal according to Torah? It's not what we see today. It's a certain type of consciousness. It means a not Adamic consciousness. So, we encounter some of those other kind of consciousnesses, namely the snake. Now, the Torah sages say that you wouldn't necessarily tell the difference between, a human being from their container, from their body, right? If a snake at that time sat down next to you on the bus, you wouldn't necessarily immediately recognize them from their body. So the snake is a form of consciousness. So Adam was brought to the world to to rectify it from those who ran it at the time, those who came before us, the snakes, you know, in terms of their consciousness. So that's exactly what we have to do, is to become as human as possible. That's what we were brought here to do. So,
That's right. I love how you put that. That was very good. I love that. Very good.
thank you.
And we have been so, you know, I always felt like we were always so busy holding ourselves, or some of us holding others of us as moral hostages, so that we could not be fully human ever. You know, and I always would, you know, that I grew up in an apartment building with Holocaust survivors, and so I heard horror stories always, and always was pondering on man's ability to become unconscious and brutal. Always thought about that, you know. But man, there it is. That's part of this. That kind of is the snake. That whole thing. But isn't it weird? Isn't it weird to think that Jewish people who are thinking that way go, what can I do? And that could do it too, not just people like us that like to figure stuff out, but people who code weaponry. There's them who are students too, going, well, the only hope would be, did you ever read that book, Gods, Guns, and Germs, or whatever? I can't remember what it is, but it's just about how we won the West, weapons and germs. And anyway, that's off the subject, but that they would
Germs
have,
and steel.
yeah, something like, yeah,
Guns, germs, and steel, the fates of human societies.
right.
Oh,
So that they
sure.
would have created this weapon that only killed buildings. That is just beyond so brilliant to me. And I will call my sister, I call her every, you know, every week, and just go, look how Hashem works. Look how Hashem moves in the soul of those who connect to him. It's amazing.
Absolutely. You don't know the reason why they'll never take the Torah, they'll never succeed at destroying the Torah, even though we're past that. You know, they try to, well, you know, it finds its way. Like God, he turned it, you know, again, it's the light of creation, right? Which was contracted into a seed form, right? And so when God had destroyed the world during the flood, you know, he brought Noah, you know, the bird that flew to, you know, delivered Noah an olive branch.
Right.
And that olive branch had olives on it. And, you know, it's the olive seeds that contain the oil, right? And the oil contains the light. So that, you know, that's one way. God just will deliver it. I mean, this is ultimately his project. He's not going to let it, he's not going to allow it. There's like a fail safe that kicks in. So, and then, by the way, interesting. I only
You think it's really kind of a cosmic game theory thing?
It's certainly programmed. I'd say that there's definitely, you know, ultimately there is a programming, there's a framework. That's why they're not going to succeed. You know, those who think they can mess with the programming, and it's gonna, God's gonna get his way is the point. So, but that olive branch, so Noah made oil out of it. You know, maybe a couple of drops. And there's another story where Jacob, when he's fleeing from Lavan, right? He's crossing the river Yabok, right? And then he brings all his people, his children, on one side of the river. Then he goes back. Why? It says this in the text. It says he goes back for his little trinkets. That's what it says. He went back for trinkets while, you know, the Dark Lord himself is chasing him. You know, what were those trinkets? One of them was a little container of that oil that
Mhm.
that Noah made from the, and then there are those who say, you know, we have Midrashim, that is the oil that they found during Hanukkah that lasted
Right.
the 8. So it's going to continue, and that, you know, and the light of Hanukkah, at that point, you don't need a little bottle anymore. The energy is just universal now. So
Well, it's like the way that Torah continually reveals itself and reinvents itself too is astounding. How it reinserts itself, maybe is a better word, how it reoccurs, how it just becomes more visible as time goes on. Like right now in this time, in this day, that it becomes even so very relevant and you know, when you read Jeremiah, especially, it's so relevant. It's just everything is so relevant. Like Daniel, every book of it is so relevant to right now. And it's like, how could this, I look at it, how could this be, how can this be? It's so fan. It's a modern and ancient miracle, a time machine of. But
yeah,
also, what it does is, a lot of people don't know because it's been kind of hidden and it's kind of illegal to really talk about it too. Which I told you guys, I know I need to do it more, but I am afraid, you know. But anyway, but it does tell us how to connect, and so you know, Torah tells us how to connect. And so we do really need to do the meditations of that Torah teaches us so that we can connect. And when we connect, we share light. And that's what we're here to do, to become full human, like you put it that way, but to share the light of the Creator, not our own ego. People who pretend like they're talking for God, forget that. That's such ego. Oh my God. But just to be able to to reflect the light of Torah is desire to receive for the sake of sharing, not speaking for God or not speaking as God. You know, it's so different, but to be able to share the majesty and the brilliance of the light of Torah with the world is the greatest hope. That's why I think there doesn't even need to be any war. If people knew what Torah really says, it says, work on yourself. Every war is internal. That's why it occurs in the world, because you didn't make peace in your own mind, between your mind and your soul and your heart. You didn't do that. And the minute you do, you're going to decrease hate and war in the world. So get busy. That's what it tells us. That's everything about Jacob's ladder. And there's so many things in there, so many technologies that people have forgotten and need to connect to, so we can help ourselves to you know, become better Jews, so we can save the whole world. We have to do it. We have to, or you know,
Yeah.
we're going to disappear if we don't.
absolutely.
For sure.
Every little observance we take on, I got a lot of work cut out for me. You know, it really does translate into more peace in the world. That's what the sages kept saying.
That's what it is. Yeah. It's fun to see it too. It's fun to see how it works when you get the eyes to see it, but you have to train yourself to get the eyes to see it, because that's removing a lot of ego to get the eyes to see it, how it works, not you, but how it works through you. And, you know, to see the evidence of it and the synchronicity and the coincidences that it brings when you act in its service in that pipeline. Oh
Yeah.
my God, so beautiful. That's why I have some hope that we don't all have to blow up.
No, we're not going to blow up. It's not going to be that big.
Yeah. No,
I don't think so.
isn't
Well,
it funny that it's just as simple as turning on the light on the wall? It's that simple.
yeah. Once the people realize they can do that, yeah. But it's funny, you know what you said, how Torah, you know, I love seeing how the more, you know, the more technology comes out, the more, you know, real science is exposed, when it is, not
Yeah.
everything is science. the more Torah, Torah, they'll just find Torah in there.
That's right.
Computer
Yeah.
algorithms, computer code, Torah codes. They
Yeah.
thought computer age, we're finally
Yeah.
free of archaic religion and God. Nope, it proves the Torah. Thank you. There you
It
go.
does prove Torah. Oh, I know. Torah codes. We'll have to do a whole other thing on Torah codes. But anyways, I got to go because guess what? I'm driving to Phoenix and giving a speech.
Nice.
And then I'm doing this and that. And I'm giving speeches because I'm all in for Trump because I'm like, if Trump don't win, man, they're going to put my ass in the gulag. So I got to go all in.
Lock and load.
Will
Just to-
first of all, lock and load, and the Soviet Jews will save you. We know a thing or two about the gulag.
Just get to Florida. That's all you got to do.
Let's get the
all right?
Florida, yeah. Or Arizona.
Well, I love you guys. Happy Hanukkah.
So
Happy
long,
Hanukkah.
Roseanne.
So
Have
long,
a
Bye.
fabulous day.
Thank you.
Bye. Happy
Yeah.
Hanukkah.
Good luck.
Bye. Happy Hanukkah. Thanks.
So, Zvi and Frank, maybe we should finish the recorded section at this point, and then if our friends want to stay and talk to each other, they're of course welcome to do that. So do you have some concluding remarks, both of you, to end the program?
I'll say
being
one
attacked.
quick thing. One quick thing. I was talking to Eliakim after he spoke, and we were writing messages, and he was just like completely blown away, and it was like surreal to him that a person like Roseanne's stature, notoriety, knows Torah, and we're talking Torah with her. And I said, this is not and I told him this is not the first time that I've done this with her, but every single time it is surreal, because it's like you're literally like, because you see all these people from Hollywood who are disconnected from everything, and even the ones that are like pro-Israel and this and that, but they're still disconnected. And then you have this one lady who's just like, they're trying to make her go away, and the more they try, it is like the Bilam effect. The more they try, the more that they themselves pay attention to what she says, and yet they want her to go away, but yet they want to hear from her, and it's just like this weird thing. And it's just like, and then every so often you talk to her, and it's like, just the fact that in the beginning she was like, before we recorded, she's like, I've been trying to reach you. She tells me, I'm like, what? Like, what? Lady, what? For what? What are you trying to reach me for? Who am I? Like, what? My claim to fame is that I have a show with the brother of a famous guy. Sort of a sort of famous guy who also got canceled and
You left
rubbed out.
something out. You also have the Israel Wine Agency, and Roseanne likes kosher wines from
That's true.
Israel.
So that's actually how we started
You
interacting.
were a rising star before they cut you off. You were 40,000 people loved you and listened to you before they censored you, even before we even started talking. So,
But the irony is that I only started talking. Well, I started talking before they come up, but like I only started like really talking after they shadow banned all my stuff. So, a tree falls in the forest, and the rest of that. Frank, what do you have to say about all this?
what do I have to say? I don't know. I said, there's nothing more to say. I think we said it all here. I think
I think we pretty much went on this crazy journey.
Somehow boiled down, if you review everything we talked about here, I think there's one thing that I wish I could have mentioned. Here's one thing that the world needs to understand, and Jews as well, right? Let's say, it really applies to everything in Torah, but Jews in the land of Israel, right? And it doesn't matter whether I'm in Israel or not. I'm talking about a fundamental law of physics that God established, okay? God wants Jews in Israel. Eventually, all of them, but certainly for that to be their land. Now, it doesn't matter how I feel about that. It doesn't matter what my opinion is. It doesn't matter what any Jew's opinion is about that. It doesn't matter what any non-Jew's opinion is about that. You could have Jews in support of Jews living in Israel. That also kind of doesn't matter. you have Jews in support of not living in Israel. It doesn't matter, because the only thing that matters is what's gonna happen and what God wants. So that's what it. Do you understand? If people just understood that one principle, I think the entire world would achieve immediate peace. Like there would just be like this serenity that automatic. Once that clicks into people's heads, there's just this unbelievable peace that will just affect all of mankind like instantaneously. That one reality, and especially Jews. Once Jews understand that God will never ever let you play with them. He'll never ever let you join their clubs, no matter what you do, no matter how much you pledge, no matter what, what Gnostic order you try to join from the non-Jewish world. You're gonna be betrayed. God himself will do that. He will never, ever, ever allow. This is to the Erev Rav. He will never, ever give you success in what you're trying to do. And when you mentioned Michael Rappaport, I was literally in my mind, I had Michael Rappaport ranting, and then that's when you mentioned it. I was shocked. Even on camera, I was like, so that's what, I think the final straw is when Jews themselves, Hollywood and whatever, they understand God will not allow them to be buddy with who they want to be buddy with under any circumstances. When they get that, we'll be okay.
Well, what do you know? So now I have to do my Ed Sullivan wannabe Secret Life of Walter Mitty outro. Here's Johnny, there's Johnny. That's Ed McMahon from the Johnny Carson Show. In the old days when there was quality on television, you're all too young to remember that. And me and Roseanne were like antediluvian world creatures.
I'm old enough to remember Johnny Carson. I watched Johnny Carson for like at least a decade. All right. So
okay, so that's not fair what I said. So we want to thank Zvi and Frank for co-chairing the seminar, which they do whenever Roseanne speaks. She gave a Rosh Hashanah address a couple of months ago on the last night of the previous year, 5783, which was the first time Roseanne had done that in 3 years since she did it at the end of 5780 in 2020. At that point, I didn't know Frank and Zvi, but by this time I did. And so Frank and Zvi co-chaired that session. In the announcement I put out, I have all the links to your channel. Also, when you and Roseanne were talking about the Erev Rav on your channel, it's all, if you scroll down, all the links are there. I copied and pasted from the announcement for Rosh Hashanah. It wasn't that difficult. And of course, we want to thank our special guest speaker, Our Lady Roseanne Barr, for speaking again for her Hanukkah address. I imagine we'll probably do this again at Passover. We'll all keep walking through the bullets. And to remind people, what was the title of the talk for the 8th and final night of Hanukkah? Expanded Light. So, yeah, I always like to quote Churchill. As the Prime Minister said, was it May or June 1940, right at the beginning when France had fallen, we will go on to the end, whatever the cost may be, if necessary for years, if necessary alone. And then I think it's in a different speech, for without victory, there's no survival. That's what Roseanne and you were both talking about. So we have this multi-front war against Esav, Ishmael, Amalek, and the Erev Rav all at once, whether we like it or not. The only way to win a multi-front war like that is to go to the one who will win for us, which is the creator of heaven and earth, which is the God of Israel. Without him, it's not going to happen. And like Frank and Zvi said, whether we like it or not, he has a plan. And like you mentioned, this person, Michael Rappaport, it has to get so bad, which it has, that it's these armor-piercing shells that go through the gefilte fish in the heads of the American Jews and the Hakol Besederism in the heads of Israeli Jews. Hakol Beseder, everything's okay. This is this mantra Israelis will say to each other, Hakol Beseder, Ken Hakol Beseder, no matter what's happening. I just heard that the other day and I thought, I was in the gym in the locker room to two old guys. I thought, at what point will you wake up from your matrix and say, someone will say back, no, it's not Beseder. What are we going to do about it? Some people here are getting to that point, but there's still a lot And maybe it's just the whole generation that has to die in the desert, like when we came out of Egypt. Okay, so we want to wish our live studio audience and our viewers and listeners, when this will be up on Zvi and Frank's Rumble channel and their Substack, Nation of Israel, a Hanukkah Sameach, to the extent we can have one under the circumstances, from Jerusalem, New Jersey, Florida, and a Shabbat Shalom, the same for this Shabbat, where we are reading Parshat Miketz, coming to the end of the book of Genesis. And guess, getting ready, let's see, we start on Shabbat, January 6th, Parshat Shmot, beginning the book of Exodus and the coming of Moshe Rabbeinu, the Redeemer, and hopefully he'll come back soon. In the Micah, the Mashiach will have 7 shepherds and 8 princes of men who will be a council with him. I think it's in the prophet Micah, and our sages discuss, so who are the 7 shepherds? And well, it's Abraham and it's Isaac, but it's this, but actually there's a lot more. We could use all the Avot and the kings, the good ones, the judges, everybody, in my opinion. Okay, so shalom to all our viewers and listeners, and see you, well, for our other programming. And I hope you'll join us next week when Frank and Zvi co-chair our medical fellowship seminar number 112 with Dr. Peter Bregan. Shalom. Oh, we stopped the recording.